Hey everyone, I'm Tony from sbproductionstudio. Today I want to make a small video on a question that was asked many times via our Facebook page. And basically it came from a lot of people that are just starting mixing, people that own small studios at home, that record their own music to get their music out there. And they keep asking me, well, Tony, which plugin should I use, let's say, on my bass drum track? Well, there's no real recipe. Perfect recipe to say, well, if you put these plugins with these settings every single time on your bass drum track, it's going to sound perfect. Actually, there isn't. And not a lot of us had the chance to go to sound engineering school to actually learn like how sound is affected by plugins and by frequencies and gating and compression. And a lot of us didn't. YouTube is a great source of information, obviously. But to kind of help you guys, to kind of teach you, so you can learn how a plugin affects, let's say, your track, and which plugins sound good together, I'm going to give you a small trick. This obviously is with Presonus. I don't know if the other DAWs out there do have it. So, but in Presonus we do have that. Inside our browse window, we have an effects chain folder. In here, we have subfolders with certain instruments, and in there is certain plugins that Presonus put together with certain settings to make the track sound a specific way, right? So let's take this bass drum here, right? Let's listen to it. So that's the raw track with no mix on it. So let's put a effects chain in it. So let's grab, let's say, deep kick here. Presonus put a compressor, a pre-EQ, and an expander in this specific order with certain settings, right? So let's start the kick drum and let's put that in and see how things are going to sound. As you can see, this specific chain reacts this way to this bass drum. And obviously the name says it all, deep kick, right? So then you get that deep kick sound that you're looking for, but you don't have to stop there. If you look at each plugin, it will have certain settings that Presonus put together, right? So for you to learn how the plugin affects the track in this specific chain, basically you just play your track, turn on and off the plugin, and stop playing and start playing with some knobs. So let's do it, right? So here we go. So let's turn off the compressor. Well, you could tell that the actual compressor is actually making the boom sound that the bass drum is actually emitting. So let's stay with the threshold. I could tell you right away, by lowering the threshold, you're going to remove the boominess of the bass drum. Right? So then you do attack and release. So all these will actually affect the sound of the track. So you're wondering how a compressor works on the track, on the bass drum track? Well, just put it in there and play with it. Raise the ratio, lower the ratio, threshold, and you play with all that. Just keep going round and round and see how it's going to react. And as I say, Presonus did a great job by actually creating the small effects chains, which I think it's perfect for people that are just starting out, and to kind of give you an idea on where to start. Let's say you want a bass drum or snare drum or whatever. So let's go to our next plugin, which is EQ. Well, as you can see, the EQ is kind of enhancing the sound of the bass drum, kind of adding the low end there. As you can see, they added a shelf between 200 at about 200 hertz, a low shelf. So let's say you play the shelf, and let's turn off that shelf. You can see, then you could play with it, see whatever suits your need. Then the other one at 2 kilohertz, right? So just play with the knobs and see how it reacts. Now the next thing is an expander. I could tell you right away that the threshold would actually remove some of the background sound, right? So let's see this. Oh, look, only the bass drum is coming through, and as you load the threshold, the bleed is kind of coming in. So if you're looking for, let's say you have this perfect sounding bass drum track and you have a bunch of plugins that it took you like 2-3 hours to figure it out, and okay, it's perfect, because obviously we all started somewhere, and you found the perfect settings, and all of a sudden you don't like the bleed that's coming into the back. You know what? By playing with this plugin that you put on a previous song, you actually found out that the expander kills the background sound. You just put at the end of your chain and say, hey buddy, I just want to hear the bass drum, and boom, there you go. You just kill everything up, and you'll remember that the expander does that. So basically it's just by playing with plugins, guys. Just go in, put it in there, and see what it sounds like, and just go with it, right? So let's see what we did with some guitar tracks here, right? So these are my guitar tracks, and this is what I put in on the tracks. So let's see how each plugin affects the track. So as you can see, the actual compressor is just kind of evening out the sound, getting rid of all the high peaks of the sound. It makes it sound a little warmer, kind of gets rid of that little high frequencies there. And then I had a EQ there, which I found that it had too many mids. As you can see, not much. 3.54 I lowered at the 654 hertz range, and I found that it was missing some. Then I found that it was missing some low end, so I added a shelf on the left side, and that's the sound that I got. Let's turn it off. Right, so let's go to the next one. That's my reverb. So you guys just go in there, play it. Just play with the knobs, you're gonna see. Finally, we have an echo. I love this plugin. This is an amazing plugin by Nomad Factory. It's an echo. I just to kind of put that like spacey kind of sound, as if the guitars are from outer space kind of thing. So this is a Pink Floyd cover coming back to life. So yeah, you kind of need that spacey type of sound, right? So let's see how the whole mix sound. Let's have a listen. So I hope this helps you guys out. This was just a small video to show you that, listen, there's no secret recipe to a perfect mix. It's going to be all about personal taste, how you want the track to sound, and the great starter point. Presonus did a great job. As I said, the effects chains. If you want to go through the effects chains very quickly, there's the drums, there's some guitars here. If you have a basic acoustic guitar plugins, these are the plugins, very simple. Funk bass plugins are in there. Mastering, there's even some mastering plugins, believe it or not. Presonus, great job. You see here, these have weird names, like Easy Does It, but hey, it's just a bunch of plugins that were put together by Presonus to kind of get you started, and just try it. Just take it, put it in there, guys, and play with the knobs and see how it sounds, and eventually you will learn what a plugin does and how a plugin affects the tracks, and then from there on you could build your own repertoire, and then you can even go ahead and save this these effects chains, obviously, through Presonus. You can actually go and save. Let's say you see yourself coming back a lot to this kind of settings, special settings. Well, then you could save it as your own. And I hope this helped you guys out there on how to get started and how to learn which plugins to use. So if you have anything else, or you have any more specific questions, don't hesitate. send me a personal message or just write down a comment at the bottom, and I will be glad to answer it. And if I have enough questions, I will make another video about it. So thank you very much, and happy mixing.